Hey guys, I'm Mr. Mackie here, and welcome to a brand new week with some brand new changes. I'm sure you can notice an obvious change right now. I know, new shirt. Now this week we're going to be focusing on angles. Now obviously I didn't do a video yesterday because it was Easter and I wanted to spend some time with my mum and my loved ones, so I didn't film a video for Monday. Which also gives you a bit of a break to spend some time with your family, because especially at a time like this, it's so important you spend time with your loved ones. So now we're back on it. Tuesday, let's get cracking on. We're doing 6 lessons this week on angles. Now the most important thing we do before we do anything is we have to know what angles are. Let's get into it. Now angles are quite simply the corner of a shape. So whenever you look at a square, triangle, rectangle, pentagon, the corners of each of them, that's what the angles are. Now, there are actually 6 types of angles out there. Loads of people say there's only 4 types or 5 types, but there's actually 6 types. Pause the video, see how many you can name. Did you pause it? Did you try? Or did you know that I was just going to give you the answer? Well, this is the first type of angle. This is probably the most common one you'll know. This is known as an acute angle, and that's the angle there. Now, there's a clue in the name for acute angle, because it's meant to be very small. More specifically, this angle, it has to be between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. So it can't be exactly 90. The acute angle could be 89.99999999999, but it can't be 90. So anywhere between 0 and 90 degrees is an acute angle. The reason why is the next angle is specifically 90 degrees only. And it looks something like this. What makes it different to an acute angle is you could be easily fooled by an acute angle. And even though it may look like this, it could still be 89.99999. What makes this one different is because it has a square, like that. This singles it out from acute angles. Do you know what type of angle this is? It's a right angle. And it's bang on 90 degrees. It's no more, no less, it's bang on 90 and it has a square. Now the next one looks like something like that. Slightly bigger than a right angle. This is known as an obtuse angle. Now an obtuse angle is anywhere bigger than 90 but smaller than 180 degrees. Anywhere between that. The reason why it has to be smaller than 180 is because of our next angle, which looks like this. This is it, and this is known as a straight line. Now a straight line is bang on 180 degrees. It can be no more, no less. It's just a simple straight line. Now the next one looks something like that. Now this is known as a reflex angle. And a reflex angle is anywhere between 180 degrees to 360 degrees. Bit more of a margin there. So a reflex angle cannot be exactly 180, cannot be exactly 360, but anywhere in between. The reason why is our 6th and final angle, which most people forget, which is this one. Now this one is simply 360 degrees and is known as a full circle. Those are the 6 types of angles out there. There's no more, no less. These are the 6 types that you'll be experiencing this week. Now, what this week is mainly going to entail is today we're going to be making estimates, predicting which angles belong to which, and so on. More detail on that in a minute. Tomorrow we're going to be focusing on constructing these angles. Now, as I said on Sunday's video, we'll need 4 things. We need a pencil, because constructing angles is very precise and we could make a mistake. We'll need a ruler to easily draw it, so it's nice and neat, so you will use rulers for these. You'll need a piece of paper, because obviously if we're going to be drawing angles, we're going to need something to draw them on. I'm not ruining my tablecloth again. And finally, the final thing you'll need is something called a protractor, which is used to measure and create angles. If anyone's not sure what a protractor looks like, let me show you one now. Now, a protractor would look something like this, very similar to a straight line, 180-degree angle. This is a 180-degree protractor, so you can use this to create any angles that are between 0 and 180. But you can still use it for 360 ones, it's just a bit more complicated. But more on that tomorrow. Today, we're going to be focusing on making estimates and predictions with these angles. Let's get started. Now, this angle here, this has caused a lot of rifts with me and my friends. Me and my friends like to sometimes make guessing games. We like to guess how big this angle is or what type of angle it is. Now, my friend Ben, he says this angle is 132 degrees. My other friend, Peter, he thinks this angle is 48 degrees. What one is it? Now, the reason why Ben thought it was 132 degrees is when he got his protractor, it lined up to 132 from the top half. The reason why Peter said it was 48 is when he got his protractor, lined it lined up as 48 from the bottom half. Now, this is a common mistake that protractors can do. You need to be able to identify whether you start measuring from the bottom area of the protractor or the top area of the protractor. And to be able to know this, I ask you one simple question. What type of angle does this one look like? 132 degrees is an obtuse angle. 48 degrees is an acute angle. This angle is an acute angle. So is it really sensible to say that 132 degrees, a number that's associated with obtuse angles, is a good guess for an acute angle? No. Match the acute angle measurement with the acute angle. So the actual length is 48 degrees. So whenever you're measuring angles with your protractor, if you know that it's an acute angle, and you end up, when you measure it from the top half, getting a number that's obviously not with acute angles, then measure from the bottom half instead, because that way you will then end up with an acute angle measurement. This angle does cause a bit of debate as well. My friend Jason, he says this angle is bang on 90 degrees. My other mate Stephen, he says this angle is 91 degrees. He says it's not quite 90. Now my other friend, okay, Liam, he says this angle is 89 degrees. So it's not big enough to be an obtuse angle, and it's not a right angle, so it must be below. Now this is a common mistake people make. People say if it looks right, it must be right. But what do right angles have? They have squares in them. Is that a square? No, it's not. And because that's not a square, we can rule out the 90-degree option. Now, who's right? 89 degrees or 91 degrees? Well, you can tell by looking at it. There's two ways you can do it. You could either just get your protractor, line it up, and you can get an accurate measurement from there, or you can just look at it. When you look at it, you can see that this line is slightly above 90. It's slightly tilted that way. And what happens when it's tilted in that way? What type of angle does that become? It becomes obtuse. 89 degrees is an acute angle, 91 degrees is an obtuse angle. Which one does this belong to? It is 91 degrees. It is an obtuse angle. Now, because we've had so many arguments with my friends, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to give them angles anymore. They're just going to non-stop argue. I'm going to give them a break. So this time we're going to make predictions ourselves. We've got three angles. We've got this angle here, this angle here, and this angle here. We're going to predict, we're not even going to use the protractor for this one, we're going to predict how big each of these angles are. Now, one of them is pretty easy to find out, which is that one, because what shape is that? A square. What angle uses a square? a right angle. How many degrees are a right angle? Well, there's only one set of degrees. So we know that this angle is bang on 90 degrees. Now, this one, what type of angle does that look like? Well, it's over a straight line, and there's only two angles that are over a straight line. A reflex and a full circle. That's definitely not a full circle because it doesn't look complete because the right angle's in the way. It's preventing it from being complete. So it has to be a reflex angle. Now the reflex angle says it has to be anywhere between 180 to 360. Well, we know that the right angle's in the way, so it's not completely 360, not even close to that. And there's another angle like that. It looks, in my opinion, just slightly over the straight line. So, at the end of the day, when it says make estimates, it doesn't matter if you're 1 degree off or 2 degrees off. As long as you get a sensible guess, so as long as you don't say something like 490, so it's completely wrong, as long as you make a guess that's sensible, that's completely fine. Now, my guess for this angle is 200 degrees. The reason why is because it's slightly over the straight line, and it's still a reflex angle, but just a new reflex angle. But again, it doesn't matter if you're 1 or 2 degrees off, because you haven't got a protractor to back you up in this argument. Estimating means sensible guessing. And now we got this angle. It's smaller than a right angle, so it has to be acute. Now it looks smaller than a right angle. I'd say it's a bit bigger than halfway, but it's not close enough to the right angle. My guess is I'd say this angle is going to be 70 degrees. And that's how you make estimates. They're sensible guesses. Does it matter if you were 2 degrees off? No. You can't be bang on right all the time. That's exactly what estimates are about. If you can't be right, at least you're trying. And that's the good thing about this. Now that we've done a few estimates and predictions, here is a challenge for you. Now this is your challenge for tonight. I have a shape. I've labelled 4 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to estimate the size of each of these angles. Now for this, when I give you my prediction tomorrow, I don't mind if it's within 10 degrees of your answer. So if it's 10 degrees too high or 10 degrees too low of what you said, I'll still say it's right to you. But for today, I want you to make these estimates, and then I'll give you the answers tomorrow. And if it's within 10 degrees, it's fine, because if it's an estimate, it doesn't matter if you're a couple of degrees off. Now, Angle Week, brand new start. We're going to be doing 6 lessons on angles this week. I cannot wait to do them, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Keep on sharing, keep on working, and keep our children learning. Thank you. Good night.